the most famous chess game in the world of chess. We are talking about the Paul Morphy versus Duke Carl, the Oprah game. Let's dive into these brilliances. Paul Morphy get the white pieces, Duke Count get the black pieces. And this game is played in Paris, 1858 in the Opera House. That's why this title of this game is the Oprah game. Paul Morphy, being a good player, started the game with classic E4, taking the center. Duke can respond with the E5, the Sicilian, the Scandinavian. There are multiple lines we know today, but this is 1858. So E5. E5 is good. You can develop the knight, and Paul Morphy did that and developed the knight to attack the center pawn. Now you can defend this pawn with knight to C6. That is the modern line engine move. You can develop the knight, you can develop the bishop as well. There are multiple gambit you can play. Duke Carl play the move d6, supporting the center. And this move is not played too much in the modern era. And the idea is just simple. You make this correct 3, and you can just play the bishop to g4, pinning the knight to the queen. And there are multiple lines. Paul Morphy play the move d4, just taking the center, nothing else. Not 2 pawns in the center is what you always want to do. And Ducal and Count, this is 1v2. Bro is playing handicap match, and not real handicap, but it called the handicap when you play 1v2. If you know, you know. And in this position, they both choose to play the move bishop to g4. This is considered as an inaccuracy by the stockfish. And also why? Because this stop nothing. You can take the pawn anyway. Why anyway? Because if you take the pawn first, now I'm going to take this queen, and when king take the queen, I'm going to take this pawn, attacking this and this pawn as well. Like after this, I just trade the queens first, like queen take queen, rook, king take queen, and now we take this one, attacking this two. You can go here, and there are multiple lines you can play, but you just down the pawn against Paul Morphy. That's all you don't want to do. And after, that's why pawn take pawn, he takes the knight first. So either you have to break your pawn structure, but that's not what Paul Morphy want to do. That's why he just take it with the queen. Queen take f3. So far so good. And now bishop take the pawn. So this is the position we get, right? Now you have to make a checkmate threat, and this position have that. You have to play bishop to c4, and this is a scholar's mate, not in 4 moves, but we get this in 6 move. And now how you going to prevent that? It's not by playing knight to f6, because after knight to f6, your opponent might play queen b3, and now 2 pawns is going to hang, and that is uh, the pawn on b7 and the f7. F7 pawn is near the king. So how you just get into this position, how to save yourself anytime you get scholar mated, instead of playing this, you can offer a queen trade. And if this move come, now you can play multiple lines. Even knight, the pawn to b6 is good. Even you attack nothing. You attack nothing, literally nothing. So this is what you can do. Just offer a queen trade. But he just played knight to f6, and Paul Morphy just slide the queen to the b3. Just sliding the queen. And now we attack 2 pawns into the position. One is near the king and one is on d7. They both have time to think, and they think about, let's just play queen to e7. He protecting this pawn, but what is the idea? But after queen take the pawn, like if queen take the pawn, he just going here and just a queen trade, right? It is just a queen trade, and you can play multiple lines here. But Paul Morphy is up a pawn. This is also good. But knight to c3. Know why? Is now he is threatening to take the pawn, and queen to b4 is not working because it's not a check. So the move they both play is just simple. That is c6, and now he is out of danger. Yes, complete out of danger. The pawn is protected, both pawns near the king, and on the b7, the both pawn safe. Now the next idea maybe just to develop the knight and centralize the rook, develop this bishop. I don't know how. You have to move the queen first. You have multiple lines. He played the move bishop to g5, and now it is just a pin. It's not an absolute pin. You can move the knight, but you lose the queen, and that's not what everyone want to do. You see, they will see that, and I thinking they see that after bishop take, they have to take with the pawn. That's why. And this pawn hang. That's why they choose to play the move b5. That is looking a complete good move because you're just kicking the bishop, and when the bishop move, you are going to unpin, or maybe you can play this h6 complete, makes sense. But what the miss is simple, that they're playing Paul Morphy. Paul Morphy sacrifice the knight, and the idea after pawn take knight, you check the king like this, and you have multiple ways to prevent to stop the check. If you move this knight, by the way, you just lose the queen. Uh, so this is also a complete good move. That's why they play this knight b d7. But now this is a absolute pin. The bishop is pinning the knight to the king. So, and this is also a pin. So now there are two pins, a absolute one, a not absolute one. This is absolute to the king because if you move this knight, you just lose your king and the game is over. But if you move this, you just lose the queen and game goes on. In this position, looking like what you have to do is go queen to a4, making a battery. That is some slow moves we know. Paul Morphy know what we doesn't know. He castled the king, long castle. A long castle is the idea. Now he's just pressurizing the position, the bishop and the rook, both looking at the knight. And this knight is not supporting this knight, by the way, because if I take this, you have to, if you take with the knight, you just lose the queen. So maybe you just sacrifice the queen. But there is also one move that saves the day, that is rook to d8. And look at this. Look at this king. This is smothered by its own pieces. If you have the knight, like here, not here, by the way. If you have the knight on this is just checkmate, but you don't have one. And what is the most forcing move here is you can play this move, rook to d2 and just develop the rooks. This is also complete normal move. Queen to a4 is also good, but that's why you get the advantage, not you call the professional. Morphy is a genius. He look at this position and see, okay, so bishop is just pinning the knight to the king, but this knight is not defending this knight. That's why he sacrifice the rook. Who is going to develop the rook when we can sacrifice? And after rook take rook, that is the only way you can save yourself. Entry of the last piece that is not involved in the game. Rook h2 d1. This is the last piece, bro. He involved every piece into the position. Look at this. Every piece. This bishop pinning, this bishop pinning. The queen is having a great time. And they see this and they both choose to play the move queen to e6, offering a queen trade. Do you want to trade the queen? Absolutely not. Paul Morphy take the rook. It's a check, and it is a check between a king and the queen. So if you didn't take, we're just going to take the queen. But what is idea of the queen to e6? Also, it just get unpinned. So now you can take this with the knight. This move is considered as a mistake by the Indian. Why? Indian want to sacrifice the queen, and this is just okay. Not okay, but Paul Morphy is still going to win. But you get some time. You get some time. You, by the way, you just lose the pawn here. But but this game is not going to end what you like. In this position, he didn't trade the queen. He didn't. He didn't even sack this also. He didn't even pin the knight to the king. He sacrificed the last hope, that is queen to b8, and after knight take the queen, rook to d8, checkmate. Look at this. The bishop is supporting the rook and rook is just killing the king. This is what you get when you are a greatest player of all time, one of the great player, by the way. The bishop is preventing king escape, the only escape, the queen, the knight, the bishop. These two pieces doesn't even involve in the game, the whole game. The king gets checkmated, but they both doesn't even appear in the game. They are on their home squares. Literally, doesn't even move one square. Literally. If this bishop is on this is not a checkmate. But now this game ends in a classic, and we all love this game. We all love this game. And also, I want to remind you just to subscribe, please. And I'm going to meet you in the next video. Until then, goodbye.